Welcome back to another edition of Everyday Football 62. I'm your host, Jonathan Big Tex Johnson, aka Uncle Tex, aka Professor Tex. Going to do this quick week four uh, uh, summary of the games from this past week four and whatnot. Meant to do it yesterday. Got hung up on some stuff, some family stuff came up, and I had to go take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to run through this real quick. Also, I'm going to be talking about a little bit about my man Geno. As you see that, Geno had a hell of a day and whatnot. Got to definitely get props for that. I think it's his best day ever in the NFL as an NFL quarterback. So it's kind of good to see that. And a little bit of something about Dak Prescott. It's kind of everybody talking about this whole possibly quarterback controversy and all this kind of stuff like that. And I still see the lack of respect that Dak gets as a quarterback. And of course, Dallas, this is to me Super Bowl or bust for them, in my opinion. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that a little bit later. Let's jump into some of these scores, man. Yeah, Cincinnati, Miami game. We all remember what happened with Tua there. I think I talked about, did a show about it and whatnot and everything. Shoot, I mean, the game was tight. Teddy Ted came in, threw a costly interception. They was moving the ball, threw a costly interception, which kind of probably could have turned the tides of the game a little bit. They possibly could have came out there with a win. Cincinnati, loaded talent on offense and whatnot, as we all know, loaded talent on offense and whatnot. You had your boy T. Higgins just went off and whatnot. And then Jamar Chase kind of came in in the second half and whatnot and everything in the second half because he was kind of pretty much shut out. I think for the most part, some during that of the first half. But T. Higgins was doing his thing, so it's like that team is what that team is, and whatnot. We'll see what happens with them. Consistency, like I said. Reason, like I said, a little bit from them winning from last year, I always go back to a lot of luck with them. They got talent, and they also had a lot of luck to come along with them. The Minnesota game, New Orleans game, that was a good game. I forgot that game was even coming on a Sunday morning and whatnot. Caught that. Kirk Cousins was going to be Kirk Cousins. I guess he got sacked about 3 times, threw a pick, still being Kirk Cousins and whatnot. But Justin Jefferson bailed him out. I think he started killing the New Orleans Saints secondary there in the second half of the game, and that basically was the difference. That was a difference, and then a 60-yard field goal, 1 minute, and a 61-yard field goal, doink twice, and that could have possibly tied the game before going into overtime, but it didn't. But yeah, every time I said this is the second week in a row, I said something about New Orleans. New Orleans, decent defense, but that secondary, they suspect. They getting ramrodded through when they need them guys to step up. Atlanta and Cleveland. Game probably Cleveland should have won, but Atlanta is hanging tough up in there. Matter of fact, Atlanta's the NFC South leading, if I'm not mistaken, at this point, which is kind of funny and whatnot. But Mariota keeping everything solid, keeping everything in place and whatnot, and came out, Chubb did his thing and whatnot. Percent wasn't too killing bad, but Atlanta prevailed in that. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see where Cleveland is at by the time Deshaun Watson get there. Dallas and Washington. Hell of a game. Probably could have that should have been probably about 30. That could have been easy 35-10 game. Dallas is pretty good. Rush is looking good and whatnot and everything like that. Still think they need to get the ball in Zeke's hand a little bit more. But Washington is started front. That is their strength. Their strength is that young defensive front. Them guys are strong up front. It's hard to run on them guys and whatnot. But they was able CeeDee Lamb had that miss, but he came back and did good. So it's like, and I'm going to talk a little bit something about the defense and whatnot, because I'm hearing all this stuff about the doomsday is back. We'll see about that. Detroit and Seattle. Hell of a game. That goes back to my man Geno. Geno did some things there, man. I got to give it up to Geno Smith. I mean, he looking good. I see some of the teammates, he's a lot like Russell. I'm like, yeah, okay, then. I mean, we ain't going to go that far. Again, like I tell you guys, it's early. It's extremely early. But props to Geno, 23 for 30, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 rushes for 49 yards, and a touchdown. He counted for 3 touchdowns. That's 18 points, or 21, however you want to put it, and stuff like that. Rashad Penny ran the ball. Rashad Penny stay healthy. They got a nice little running game going on right there and whatnot. Their defense got to pick it up. That's definitely something that has to happen there with the defense and whatnot. But yeah, that was a good win for Geno. Happy for the cat and whatnot. You look very good and whatnot. So, hey, kudos to my man now. Tennessee Titans 24-17 now. Derrick Henry doing what Derrick Henry doing. Tannehill just being Tannehill. I always say this, and I've said this quite a few times and whatnot. That is the type of team where Cam Newton is supposed to be at. This team, if Cam Newton's a quarterback with his threat of running and short passing, only because if you look at, they don't throw the ball a whole hell of a lot. They don't have to because they have a running game. Cam Newton has never been known as being the most accurate, but when he's in rhythm, he can get it. He going to run the ball 4 or 5 times for you, throw you about 17, 18 balls, complete a few short ones, do long every now and then. Perfect fit for them. That's why Tannehill is doing what he's done, because it's of the running game. If you had to depend on Tannehill the whole game of being a passer, no. But again, Tennessee is one of those teams, they only go as far as their quarterback lets them go. New York and Chicago, good to see that Quan Barkley is doing what Quan Barkley was drafted to do. So far, so good. Again, it is early. Nice yards on that. Chicago right now, they have to find themselves. They don't even know what's going on with them. But it's kind of good to see Saquon Barkley going. But here we go. Both their quarterbacks. Daniel Jones went down, and it was that Tyrod Taylor? I think he just came in, and he got hurt. Here we go with the quarterback situation. So it's just like this jinx. And then it's also a rumor going around that Saquon Barkley might be up for trade and whatnot. So we'll see what happens with that. That'll be interesting. I'm hearing the Bills. That would be scary. Then you'll be able to see his talent was always there. It was about staying healthy. The man stays healthy. He's one of the top backs in the league, bar none. I've always said that. But I always say about the jinx about the Penn State running backs as well. Philadelphia and the Jaguars, boy, was the golden boy there last week. Golden boy there last week. They were loving Trevor Lawrence and whatnot. Trevor Lawrence fumbled away 5 times and threw a pick. Now, mind you, he fumbled the ball 4 times, lost 4 fumbles, and he threw a pick. Now, mind you, they lost by 8. Now, the defense of Philly's going to always have a little defense. That's one of Philly's calling cards been had for a long period of time and whatnot with them. But that could have been Miles Sanders, another Penn State back and whatnot, 27 for 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. That was their saving grace right there. I think Jacksonville was getting after Jalen Hurts. They applying a lot of pressure on him and whatnot. One, that he was sacked maybe 2 or 3 times and harassed pretty much throughout the day. But their defense and their running game bailed them out. So that's a good thing there. But like I said, Philly's something to watch. Like I said, Jalen still just technically, this is Jalen Hurts' second year starting. Technically. 2020, I've already did the story on that. So last year was his first year actually starting. And now this is his second year. That's another thing that people don't like to talk about when it comes to talking about him and whatnot. New York and Pittsburgh, seeing Kenny Pickett came in, like I said, unfortunately for somebody like Mr. Trubisky. Feel sorry for the kids sometimes, but life that's life. It is what it is. New York is playing somewhat decent football for right now. We'll see what happens and whatnot. It's competitive. Just give me some competitive football and whatnot. Some type of competitive football. But I think we might see the era of so boy named, is it Kenny Stills? I think that's the Joker's name. Kenny Stills. Kenny Pickett. Might see him coming up in there and everything, because it's like he threw 3 picks. There's 4 picks by them. Najee Harris, we'll see what happens with them, but it's like they are 0-7 in the 7 games has been missed since TJ Watt is coming to the league. In the 7 games that's been missed, they are 0-7. They miss him dearly. 23-20 the Bills in Baltimore. Field goal should have been kicked, but I'm not even going to go that far with that. We're not going to go that far. I already know what Lamar did. I already know they did. It was great to see J.K. Dobbins back and whatnot and stuff like that. I'm not going to even go down on Harbaugh with this. Baltimore has a problem on defense. Period. End of story. I don't see not a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And your great defense, Baltimore's calling card, that team is a defensive team by nature, going back to Ray Lewis and the guys. And you're looking at someone, let me see. They had one sack the whole game against Josh Allen. A lot of poor tackling that I saw. That's not the calling card of a Baltimore defense. And that's where the problem lies in. The problem is not Lamar. The problem is not even Harbaugh, even though I'm kicking the field goal. I know what's going on kicking the field goal, but that shows right there we have to try to score because the defense, Peterson, them guys get mad all they want. But them guys are supposed to be studs back there, and they're not putting – then they got John Paul Pierre, supposed to got him up in there. That's his first game back. We'll see what happens. But it's like their defense is failing them. That's what nobody wants to talk about. It's their defense, not their offense. They're supposed to be 4-0. Defense, close it out. Shut them out. Take the ball with Humphreys, Peters. Them guys got to step it up. Them guys got queen them. They got to step it up. They're supposed to be basically 4-0 right now. There's no reason why they should be at this particular point. Where they 2-2 now, 2-2. No reason for they're supposed to be easily 4-0. Chargers in Houston. This is what this is. Houston ain't gonna do nothing. Chargers did what they did. Oh boy, comes back, plays a good game. Herbert and whatnot. He's gonna do what he's gonna do. 27 for 39, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns and whatnot. Austin Eckler ran the ball pretty good. He caught the ball coming out the backfield. This guy, Damian Pierce, he's running the ball good the last couple of weeks. 14 carries for 131 yards. Like I said, San Diego is still not a team to trust as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's just San Diego, man. That's always been San Diego. That's always been San Diego. Anytime they had any type of good teams or whatever like that, they cannot be trusted. And this is going way back, man. As soon as you want to jump with them and stuff, they're not to be trusted. I can't, again, still early, but they're not to be trusted. San Diego Chargers or LA Chargers, not to be trusted. 26-16 Arizona Cardinals and Carolina Panthers. Hey, man, here we go. We got, Murray, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 3 touchdowns. Shady McCall was talking mess about Murray. I'm like, son, you can sit up there and talk shit about that guy all you want. That cat's a winner. Everybody got to get on this page, and that's the thing. And I don't think nobody wants to see him as being that guy that you got to get on page with. He's that dude. Everybody just got to you follow his lead. Do as he do. The Cardinals will be like that. Do as he's in some cases unconventional, and I think that's where the problem comes into play. But the dude's a winner. He's always been high school, college, always been a winner. Like I said, 23 for 32, 27 yards. Not a lot of yards, 2 touchdowns. It is what it is, man. Connor, a few yards here and there. Kyler, run the ball 12 times, just escaping and stuff like that. This guy's got to do better in protecting him and whatnot. Can't wait till he gets my man back. I don't know. I can never remember his name. It's D-Hop. Get D-Hop back, man. Where he has receiver. He really, you can't really see who he can really throw to. He got Zach Ertz. But where's your wide receivers? A.J. Green is aging and stays hurt. Every time you look up that joker, he's in the damn training room. So it's, so we'll see. Again, still early, but Kyler Murray, I think Arizona will be all right. Packers, and this game should have basically ended. This game should have even went 20. It was 24-27. Green Bay. This game shouldn't have even went to the. Shouldn't even went to overtime. Shouldn't even went to overtime. Had I think Romeo Dobbs. Rogers put the ball right there. The dude dropped the ball in the end zone. Game's over. But again. It'd be interesting to see, even though I don't think it's going to happen, but interesting of Odell Beckham Jr. can sit up there and go there to Green Bay. That'd be a nice little fit there. But Rodgers got to get comfortable with his wide receivers and whatnot and everything. And he tries, he's losing against these rookie quarterbacks. And I said, dude, it's still a coach against a Belichick team. So in the end, at 3-1, Green Bay did pretty much what they were supposed to do and whatnot. The receivers got to come up to Aaron Rodgers. He can't go down to them. They got to come up to him. Denver and Vegas 32-23. And I keep getting a lot of flack from that of Russell Wilson. And I'm like, how is it that this is Russell Wilson went 17 for 25 for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. Only eight balls incompleted. Russell Wilson, the leading rusher, he accounted for 3 touchdowns. And this is his fault. Here we go again with the defense. They couldn't stop the run. Josh Jacobs, probably his best game in about a year and a half. 28 carries, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's Russell Wilson's fault too. They already didn't have anybody on that squad really from last year. You bring Russell Wilson up there and whatnot. So everybody has to try to step their game up, still learning the offense, how the offense is going to go down. How is this Russell Wilson fault? No, but the problem is this guy Melvin Gordon. I told y'all a year, 2 years ago, when he was still with San Diego running his mouth about thinking he was supposed to, he's elite back because he got a bunch of touchdowns. I say he has a problem with putting the ball on the ground, and that was on display last week and the week before that. And this one of these cost him a long ass touchdown where the Raiders ran it back when it scored on defense. That was the one what that was. Oh man, that's a backbreaker. That was a backbreaker. That was oh man, what's that joint? Yeah, Melvin fumbled 68-yard touchdown. That was in the second quarter. But I mean, like that's demoralizing them. They still climb themselves out of it. I'm like, but you don't give that away. That's a defensive touchdown. You gave that to them. And again, I go a decent back. He will give that. He will turn that ball over. That's a part of who he is, and he's always been like that. And I mean, that's why I said, no, you're not an elite back. Turn the ball over too much. 41-31. We already see the wizardry what happened there with Mahomes and what he did. Everybody saw it, the spin. It is 23 for 37, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Shouldn't even threw that pick, actually. Shouldn't even have to be throwing the ball. They ran the ball relatively well. Allaire, 19 carries for 92 yards and a touchdown. And he had a receiving touchdown as well. So it's like, that was a good game for him. I was saying last week they need to run the ball. Can't sit up there, even though Mahomes still threw the ball 37 times and whatnot, they need to run the ball. But like I said, they're Achilles heel. Even though they harassed Brady a little bit and whatnot, but they still, even the game was basically over. The game wasn't even that close. But you still don't want to give up 31 points, man. Still don't want to give up 31. That's too much. Even though you won by 10 and the game really wasn't even close, you don't want to give up 31 points. They got to fix some stuff in that secondary, man. They really do. And in this game, 24-9, Niners and the Rams. Come on, man. Niners and the Rams. I'm like, Niners just own the Rams. Rams cannot deal with that. They can't deal with that smoke, man. They cannot deal with that smoke for whatever reason. They can't. Debo, hey, man, I'm telling you, man, everybody needs a Debo on their team, I think. Or that guy who's just like, he's a fire starter, man. He's a starter, stirs the drink. I'm sorry. But also, the Niners is a team. And I say, Jimmy G. Jimmy G is doing what Jimmy G has always done. He's a solid quarterback. He's not a superstar. He's a solid quarterback. And they got a legit defense. They sacked old boy Stafford, I think 7 times. And Stafford looked confused throughout the whole game. You going to make sure Cooper Kupp got targeted 19 times and caught the ball 14 times for 122 yards. Tyler Higbee, 10 receptions for 73 yards. Targeted 14 times. I ain't going to go nowhere with that, y'all. I believe it be. But in the meantime, that's, we'll see what happens with that. But like I say, Debo Samuel, 6 yards, and that hell of a touchdown, that long touchdown, that touchdown where he broke them tackles and whatnot and stuff like that. But their defense is legit. You got Bosa. You got Bosa. You got Dre Greenlaw. You got Dre Greenlaw. You got what's my man's name? Samson Ibukam. Them, like I said, 7 times they harassed him. That defense is legit. But again, 49ers are a team. Jimmy G, they'll go as far as their quarterback will allow them to go and what he does. And their defense. Now, somebody like Bosa, a lot of these guys on here, Bosa, they'll be healthy, man. Can't look up and hurt. Him and his brother hurt all the time. Let's just keep it 100. hurt all the time. So we'll see what happens when you need him and whatnot. So we'll see what happens when it comes to that and whatnot and all that. So that's the thing there. Real quickly though, real quick, going back here, I'm going to my man there, and we're gonna talk about Mr. Dak Prescott. I'm so sick of Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback, whether you like it or not. Ever since Dak Prescott has been in the league, Dak Prescott has a record of 53-33. Dak Prescott, even though a Pro Bowl in 2016 and 2018, right? Dak Prescott started coming into his own in the year 2019. Unfortunately, when 8-8 did make the playoffs, lost a lot of close games and whatnot. He's threw 30 touchdowns in the last 1, 2, 3 years. If it's 2019, 2018, 2019, and 2020. 2019, 2020, and 2021. Dak Prescott has accumulated, I think, 76 touchdowns. He threw 37. In 19, he threw for 4,902 yards, 30 touchdowns, only 11 picks, 65.1 completion ratio. Got hurt. He was balling out, got hurt against that of the Giants and whatnot. 2020, that's COVID. 2021 last year, broke the record, set the record, 37 franchise record, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, 11-5. He's won 3 NFC East titles. Does he need to win? Yes, he does need to win in the playoffs. Everybody knows that and whatnot. Quarterback controversy, I think not. No. When Dak is on, Dak can get it. He can play just as good as anybody when he's on. I just want to see him on and consistently be on. An unfortunate thing that happened with his hand. You hate it, but that's a part of, but unfortunately, that's a part of the game. But again, you're looking at somebody 53, 33, and 0. I don't know what else what else is it that you really, what else is he supposed to do? Yes, he has to win. And I said this back in going into the 2017 season. I said, this team is built. They have to get it done in the next 5 or 6 years. I said that. Go back and check out some of my old podcast, some of my old shows. They have to get it done. And this is the year. They got to get it done. They have got to get it done this year. They got to get it done. But to say, I said, Dak is a top 10 quarterback, 53-33. His record probably be a lot better and whatnot and everything. But like I said, he comes back and they're still rolling, get the ball, do what they need to do. And like I said, I think that success is really running the ball, but they do have weapons and whatnot. So you're gonna have to use that. Side note, I'm hearing, I don't know if it was Michael Parsons or somebody was talking about Dallas as being their doomsday defense. I say we'll see, because Matthew Stafford, boy from out of Dallas, Highland Park. We'll see what happens. That's a lot of talk going on. He normally plays well against Dallas. I mean, it's to show out a little bit because that's where he's from. So we're going to see what happens and whatnot. But doomsday, I say, you talking about doomsday. I'm saying y'all ain't even the defense that was of the 90s. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, I like this confidence and the swagger with some of these cats coming saying what they need to say, man. But at the same token, I say, hey, man, it's still mad young in the season. And we'll see what happens and whatnot. But I want to see, like I said, still early. We'll see what happens. We're going into week 5. And since we're talking about week 5, since we're up there talking about week 5, let's say who is supposed to be playing coming up in now. Let me see, week 5. Let me go. Supposed to be playing maybe Sunday, third. Okay, Denver and Indianapolis. I'm gonna go ahead and pick that. I got Denver on that one. I got Denver. I got Russell Wilson showing out. You heard it here first. I got him showing out. 35-20. Got him showing out. All right. You know what I'm saying? You catch up with your guys later. Like I said, subscribe to the page. Got any questions, comments, hit me down below. And whatnot, I tell you guys all the time, there's no greatest of all time. Long time still going on. And like I say all the time, numbers don't mind getting emotional. People do. You guys have a good one.